The Samsung Galaxy S23 is only a couple of weeks away from its official unveiling, and as always we know pretty much everything about it by now thanks to all the leaks that have been coming out. Are you interested in learning about Samsung's 2023 flagship series, see what they're gonna look like and maybe even pre-order one? Well, you're in the right place, stick around. According to WinFeature, here we have leaked official marketing images showing the Galaxy S23. It doesn't take a detective to immediately notice that Samsung has decided to change the design of the Galaxy S23 and S23 Plus a bit, making it closer to the cleaner design language of the Galaxy S22 Ultra. More specifically, we still have a vertical camera setup, but the three cameras are no longer all together inside of a metal camera island. Instead, they're on completely separate camera bump, and I have to be honest, I'm really liking this cleaner and more minimalist look, as it does seem like a nice step forward, making all S23 phones look more premium and uniform. The small bad news we can take away from this is that your old S22 and S22 Plus cases will obviously not fit on the upcoming S23 phones. Of course, that aside, everything else on the back seems to remain the same as last year, including the flash, which is exactly where it was last time around. On the front, the selfie camera is also clearly where we last saw it, at the top center of the display. We're not getting something crazy like under-display cameras just yet, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? The S23 Ultra in particular, however, was reported by a reliable leaker, Ice Universe, to be getting some unexpected design revisions, such as a slightly different curvature radius of the side frame, while remaining about as thick as its predecessor. This is again a small change, but once again likely means your old cases won't fit on the new phones. Now, as we look into the specs of the S23 series, let's check out our own render images of Samsung's upcoming phones, which you can also check out at PhoneArena.com. And top-of-the-line Galaxy S23 Ultra will start at 256 gigs of storage now, twice the storage of their predecessors, which was 128 gigs. Take this with a grain of salt, however, because it may not apply to all regions. Hopefully it will, but we can't be sure just yet. In addition, the S23 Ultra will be packing 12GB of RAM as opposed to 8, so that's a nice upgrade too. More RAM obviously means more apps staying open in the background, which makes sense to have on such a versatile power user phone. And speaking of internal upgrades, something I'm personally very excited about is that Samsung S23 series will no longer be powered by Exynos processors in some regions. Yes, as it seems, we're all finally getting Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processors on all S23 models in all regions. So we're looking at some very powerful flagship phones there. And again, people in Europe will no longer be sneakingly getting an Exynos processor instead of a cutting-edge Qualcomm one. Very good news for some of us. And we might as well get into the specs of each individual S23 model while we're at it. Now, I won't bore you by reading out all the specs, but feel free to pause the video and check them out. But we are going to point out what some of the latest leaks showed us in terms of internal upgrades. In summary, all three phones in the upcoming Galaxy S23 series, which are the S23, the S23 Plus and the S23 Ultra, will have beautiful AMOLED displays with a smooth refresh rate of up to 120Hz, double that of the average phone. All three phones will also be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processors, not just the Galaxy S23 Ultra like we said, which is some great news. In a very un-Apple move, Samsung is giving us the best processor even on the quote-unquote cheapest phone, so even if you buy that one, you aren't getting punished for it. Where all three phones most notably differ are their display sizes, battery sizes and cameras. The base S23 has a 6.1-inch display, the S22 Plus has a 6.6-inch display, and the big boy S23 Ultra has a 6.8-inch display. And that big display on the Ultra is welcome, as it can also serve as your notepad if you want it to be, because obviously the built-in S Pen stylus returns for this particular model. The S23 Ultra will remain a Swiss Army knife of a phone, and it's hard not to love it for that versatility. As for the cameras, both the S23 and S23 Plus share a 50MP main camera, a 10MP telephoto with 3x zoom, and a 12MP ultra-wide. Of course, the Galaxy S23 Ultra is where you'll be getting the best camera upgrades, namely a 200MP main camera, a 10MP telephoto with 3x zoom, a second 10MP telephoto with 10x zoom, and a 12MP ultra-wide camera. So yeah, unsurprisingly, that's the phone that's likely to wow us with both its camera performance and zooming capabilities. But stay tuned for our full reviews in the coming weeks to see those for yourself. But something else exciting we heard recently is that Samsung may be bringing 8K video recording at 30 FPS, which was basically confirmed very recently. That 200MP sensor that will be inside the Galaxy S23 Ultra got its own announcement page on Samsung.com recently, promising 8K video recordings at 30 FPS, a wide field view, and superb HDR performance. Needless to say, when the S23 Ultra gets unveiled next month, that camera will be its main focal point. Along with all that, there's been a report claiming Samsung will reveal an answer to the iPhone's action mode video recording, with a new feature called Ultra Stabilization. However, that one is also likely going to be available only on the S23 Ultra and not the Plus or the base model. Now, I'm sure many of you are excited for these phones, so the questions that remain are: when will you be able to buy a Galaxy S23 and when is the official launch? Well, this information has now also been revealed. You can already reserve your Galaxy S23 pre-order from Samsung by using the links in the description below. Samsung is also giving up $50 or $100 discounts on early reservations, so go ahead and grab your offer while it lasts. As for when the phones will actually get released, well, Samsung has an unpacked event on Wednesday, February 1st, where the phones will officially get unveiled to the world. Insiders have suggested that they will be released 2 weeks after that, on February 17th. So yeah, there's not really that long left. As for how much the S23 series will cost, so far the expectations are for the S23 to start at $799, the S23 Plus to start at $999, and the Ultra to start at $1199. Now, there's a small possibility that Samsung could bump up those prices, but the general consensus is that they will remain the same as they were last year, so hopefully not. So to sum up, the Galaxy S23 series will be getting announced on February 1st and released about 2 weeks later. Stay tuned to PhoneArena.com for our full coverage of the upcoming Samsung event, plus any newer news and leaks that drop beforehand. And again, you can already reserve your Galaxy S23, S23 Plus and S23 Ultra via the links below and even get a discount. Now you let us know, are you planning to pre-order the Galaxy S23 series, and are you excited for Samsung's new flagships? They sure look like some impressive, powerful Android phones, and the Galaxy S23 Ultra in particular is arguably one of the most exciting smartphones we're going to get in 2023. But again, you let us know what you think. Thanks for watching, like this video if you liked it, leave a comment with your thoughts on the S23 below, and I'll see you next time.